Hi, and welcome to the organizational review information session. Thank you for joining us. This will be recorded so we can post it on our website and give information to anyone who wasn't able to make it today. So we're going to go ahead and jump right in. This won't take very long. It's a pretty simple process. But the Fredericksburg Regional Continuum of Care will be accepting applications for an organizational review. We have started doing this process about 3 years ago. To shorten the review of our funding and performance committee during an application process for actual funding for a specific project. So it helps us with knowing the organizations that we are going to fund before we actually determine which projects we will fund them for. So for the organizational review, this is for any projects that feel like they are going to apply for funding some point in the next year. So even if you aren't 100% sure, it would be good for you to actually go through this process just to be able to get the review and get the information. It does not exclude you from applying for funding later on when an actual application and opportunity for funding opens, but allows us to have a leg up on knowing that you're a good organization and a good fit for our services. So we have posted on our website all the information that you will need to actually complete your organizational review, as well as information about the entire process. So you will see first, one of the biggest things that are going to help you through this process is our organizational review summary. So it gives you brief information about what the organizational review is. Like I said, it is about determining eligibility for funding sources and to monitor compliance, but it is not to discourage you later on or make you ineligible or not possible to apply for funding when a application process actually opens. So the ones that we're talking about are the funding sources that go through the COC. That is going to be our state funding through Virginia Homeless Solutions Program, federal dollars through HUD, as well as the state's Housing Trust Fund, and any local funds that the COC administers. So this helps us really just know any of our grantees and sub-grantees, what we have going. Per our policies and procedures for funding, in order to be eligible to even be a grantee, you do have to meet 3 requirements. You have to be a member of the COC. If you have questions about whether or not you are a member, we are happy to help you through that process, and becoming a member is super easy. You do have to adhere to our coordinated entry policies and procedures. Most of our funding sources have this as a requirement, but it's also good planning. So it allows you to actually be coordinated with the rest of the COC and the providers. This meets our overall goal of deduplicating services and allowing for coordination and streamline of services. So what that means is if you are going to accept funding from us, you do have to be housing first, meaning that you cannot screen people out for barriers or terminate them from services for barriers. People are as they come, and we wrap housing around them. In order to be a COC member, you don't have to be housing first, but if you're going to accept funds for us, we do require this. You do have to participate in our coordinated entry system. You have to adhere to our project standards. Those are all on our website. And then you do have to use either our HMIS system or comparable database for victim service providers. Thirdly, you do have to meet any eligibility that comes from a funding. When the funding opportunities actually are released, we release all grant information, and so you are able at that time to determine whether or not you are eligible for a specific grant. We're also able to help walk you through that process, but it changes from grant to grant, so it's not a part of this organizational review. So just a brief timeline of what we're looking at. We have released the organizational review and it is open for submissions. Organizational information session is today. And then the organizational review documents are due in Good Grants, our electronic funding application service, by January 29th at 5 p.m. From there, our funding and performance committee will review all of the documents, and they use a matrix to make comments. Most of the comments that they make are going to be suggestions. Maybe you have a strategic plan that's a little bit older. They're going to suggest that maybe you think about some updates to that. If something is missing in your financial policies, like a whistleblower policy, they're going to ask for an addition to that, right? So lots of recommendations about how to make you a good organization and keep you competitive for funding. But again, not necessarily a determination about whether or not you're eligible to apply for funding later on. All of you who do participate in this process will be given a list of their matrix. So they'll come up with a final one that outlines how you kind of scored in each one and what their recommendations for you as an organization are. If you ever have any questions, there might also be some time for back and forth as they ask for you to kind of clarify things, but we'll walk you through that process. Again, not about an actual scoring, does not affect your funding in the future, but allows us to make sure we're having good organizations applying for our funding. So what do you actually need to submit? So we have a list here for you about what we're looking for. We're really excited about the fact that the Rappahannock United Way has allowed us to do a document sharing with them. So what that means is if you have participated in the Rappahannock United Way's membership process, you have submitted many of these documents already. So that you don't have to continue to submit those, the Rappahannock United Way is providing those documents to us. The only ones that you would have to submit, because they're not asked for by the United Way, is organizational chart, organizational strategic plan, financial policies and procedures, and then our templates for a spending plan and a Housing First checklist. Both the templates for the spending plan and the Housing First checklist are available on our website, and within Good Grants, you'll find the links in order to find those documents. So again, some core things to remember about this process. We have to have all documents submitted to us by January 29th at 5 p.m. We do have a funding email at any time. If you need technical assistance or you have questions about this process, you can always reach out to us at this email. Multiple people receive these, and so we're always checking this email to figure out what questions are coming through. So that email is funding@fredericksburgcoc.org. I am going to walk you through our system just so you see what that looks like and how to submit. But if you ever have any questions, please email us and let us know. But most of your questions should be answered on the website with the documents provided. So let me switch screens here and let me go through what we have. All right, so this is a copy of our website. This is what it looks like right now. You'll find under our work, our funding page. This is where you will find information about all of our funding, which includes the organizational review. Currently, we don't have any funding opportunities open, but we will very soon as some open in the spring. But if you ever have questions about what our funding priorities are, what our policies and procedures look like, what the whole process looks like, any open funding, this is the place that you want to go. So on this page for the organizational review, you will find a copy of the Housing First checklist, the spending plan template, and that summary sheet that gives you all the information of how to participate in this process. Again, January 29th, 2023 at 5 p.m., all documents have to be submitted. All right, so this is our portal. We use an application called Good Grants to help us submit all of our information. You do have to sign up with an account. If you ever have any issues getting through that process, please reach out to us and we are happy to help you through that. But once you are actually signed in, any of our open opportunities will be available here. We host the Continuum of Care, Affordable Housing, Go Virginia through this site. So you'll see lots of opportunities from across GWRC, but you'll always know which ones are the COC because it has our logo tied to it. So you'll see a box to start an application for the organizational review. If you hit start application, it'll bring you to start answering the questions that are required. So project name, you're going to put your organization. And you can just say, you know, fail-safes organizational review. And it can be really easy to just know right away who we're looking at. Contact name is going to be the person who's going to receive the correspondence from the outcome of the funding and performance committee. So please make sure that this is an active person and someone who's going to get that information for you guys. Once you fill that out, you're going to be able to go to the documents tab, and you'll be able to answer the questions that we need. So the first one is we are just trying to figure out what funding people are interested in and what they're looking at. This is a checkbox. You can check as many as you want, and go from there. Let me see if it'll let me. All right, so it'll let me actually check however many boxes that I need. It will ask me to certify that I meet all the requirements for being a grantee. If you have submitted through the United Way, it's going to ask you that. If yes, you'll see other questions actually pop up that you'll be able to answer. If no, then you won't have to provide those. You very easily can select a file that you would be able to upload for each of these. Once you've uploaded all of your files, you are able to save and submit. So really, it's just an application process of uploading a bunch of files for us to review. And again, Funding Performance will get a download of all of your files, review, do the matrix, and go from there. But again, super simple process just to help us know what the organization is. A couple of questions that we have gotten from these files in the past. Board of Directors listing, we just need your most recent people who are currently active on your board. IRS form is the one that you recently submitted. Profit and loss statement, we are looking for audited statements from the prior year and year to date right now. Your last agency audit, any proof of 501c3, your organizational chart. If you have an organizational strategic plan, please include that. If not, that's perfectly fine. I've also got questions about how much of the strategic plan, some of it they don't want people to know. Whatever your forward-facing document about the strategic plan is would be great. Financial policies and procedures. This should include your conflict of interest, your procurement policies, and any whistleblower policies that you have for your organization. For the spending plan, this may look different from each one. We want what your spending was for your most recent budget. So whatever just ended and what that looks like. And then finally, Housing First checklist. This is a template from HUD that we use, and you only have to complete the project level section for this checklist. So let me pull this up. So you'll see it starts here for the program and project level. You only have to complete this here, not the community level. So we're just interested about what your organization does. But again, if you have any questions at all throughout this process, please do not hesitate to reach out to us. You can reach us at funding@fredericksburgcoc.org. Thank you so much for all of your time, and I look forward to working with you guys in the future.